Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of May 5th, and we are coming off of that big full moon in Scorpio last week. Boy, that was quite a doozy, but we have almost a little bit of a Plutonian hangover going on this week. Pluto was the planetary ruler of that Scorpio full moon and is about to station retrograde just this week and is sitting very, very still in the sky. And when a planet is sitting still, that means we just feel the potency of all of those energies. So that is really kind of dragging on this Pluto effect, the Scorpio effect. So we're going to talk about that. And also this week, we see the moon coming into a conjunction with Pluto. So just so much energy focused in this area. And then a really beautiful aspect towards the end of the week, the sun sextile Jupiter. And that brings in an aspect of good fortune and of ease and harmony, wisdom, kind of sparking a little bit more of that good life. And we could use that after so much Pluto and Scorpio action, because Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth, and Pluto represents the phoenix, the death rebirth cycle, where you have the rising of the phoenix from the ashes, rather. So it is quite the transformative aspect, and we are feeling this really, really hardcore because Pluto is stationing to go retrograde this week, sitting at 5 degrees, 30 minutes in the chart. So you want to look and see in your birth chart, where is 5 to about 3 degrees of Aquarius, because this is where this Pluto retrograde is going to take place. This is the area of your chart that's going to be drilled down on by this highly transformative planet that really likes to make permanent changes and have permanent effects on the future, because it's that cycle of complete loss, the burning down, the release of the old, and then there's this gooey state in between. But with Pluto, there's always the promise of the rebirth also. There's this potency and this nutritious aspect of that death that creates that rebirth. So we're just in the midst of this. Aquarius is an interesting sign. Aquarius is the sign of the people. So as Pluto is slowing down and stationing here, and we are still feeling the after effects of this Scorpio full moon that's bringing more attention to this area, we can be under the influence of Aquarius themes a little more. So the sign of the people, the sign of groups and freedom and independence. As the moon moves into Aquarius later this week and conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius, we're going to even be feeling that even more. So let's just dial it back to the day to day. So on May 5th, we have the moon moving into Capricorn in the middle of the day. So we wake up in the morning with the last of that Sagittarius moon, maybe taking on the last little bits of the adventure in the morning time. And by the afternoon, Capricorn makes us feel, brings the mood a little bit more ambitious. It's more of a structure building type of sign where we are putting in the work. The moon in Capricorn is ruled by Saturn in Aries. And what Saturn in Aries is doing is working on the self. It's getting serious about the responsibilities that it has for the self. Aries is the sign of our ego. It's the sign of our identity. And it's also just the sign of me. It's the most selfish sign. Aries is all about the self. And Saturn, being in Aries, is working through those themes. So Saturn is the planet of responsibility, and it rules Capricorn. So as this Capricorn moon comes in, we could feel a real pull to keep working on ourselves and building the structure. Capricorn is about the ground up. It's an earth sign. So it's like, okay, I want to lay down the cornerstones of this structure here and put down the foundation so that we can build from there. So that's why it's kind of ambitious, because that's a big responsibility. The side of responsibility takes that on because it has the confidence and it has the knowledge. And also another thing that Capricorn is about that we'll be looking at and sort of feeling into while the moon is in Capricorn the next couple of days is karma. Saturn is the time lord and the lord of karma. And so there's this feeling of karmic ties and working within themes of our karma and just being more aware of our karmic ties and maybe the work that we have to put in, to keep those healthy. And we get a little more serious and ambitious. I love Capricorn moons because they are not afraid to get some things done and build from the ground up. So I always make a nice long to-do list while there's a Capricorn moon. And also on the 5th, Mercury is squaring Pluto, another Pluto aspect this week. So Mercury, the sign of our mind and the sign of our communication, on Tuesday this week is going through a challenge because a square is a challenging aspect. And Pluto, as I said, likes to burn things down and rebuild them completely. So there's something in terms of our mind, in terms of our communication. Mercury also represents transportation. So this is like our cars and our routine errands that we run and the day-to-day, like going about town and the little bits of transportation we use throughout the day. Our car shopping. Mercury rules the markets. And so there's some type of challenge that we run into with this square to Pluto where something needs to transform. Something needs to have a powerful and potent and permanent ending so that we can take a step up. Squares are an opportunity to level up. So with a square, it's like you can either kind of trip over it or you can use it to get you to that next level. And so as the square comes along, we make a decision. It's like a forced decision with Pluto and with the square, but our mind takes on this destined, fated moment because Pluto is just about squared off to the lunar nodes. Mercury is making an aspect to the lunar nodes throughout the evening on Tuesday also. So whatever fix is coming in, whatever challenge that's causing us to take action, this is going to have a destined, fated effect on the future. So as the lunar nodes come into aspect, we can see that our destiny is indeed in front of us and where we may not even recognize it. We have that hindsight 2020 that, hey, something on Tuesday evening, that communication that came in, that mercurial aspect that we had, it had this like really permanent effect. And you look back and go, wow, that was quite the changing point. And then on May 6th, this is the day when Pluto just stands exactly still and stations to move backwards in the sky. So this is the potent day, but we've been feeling Pluto stationing. It's the slowest moving planet. As you all know, it's the farthest one out there. Is it even a planet anymore? We don't even know. And Pluto represents all of those mysterious things that are far off in the distance, that are usually in the dark, that we just don't usually get to see. Pluto has actually come up in the news just this last week, which is not uncommon. See, when these planets station, we can see the themes around them come into the light and just kind of get drilled down upon. So Pluto in the news this week there is a push by some astronomers, I suppose, to actually bring Pluto back into our solar system as an official planet again. So that is like perfect timing and is not, it's too good to be true. You can't like make that stuff up. That's just what happens in the astrology. As above, so below. As Pluto beckons for attention, here it comes into the mainstream media, wanting that attention again, wanting to be reclassified. It's in Aquarius. It wants to be seen by the people, the sign of the people, the group of people around, speaking up for Pluto here, forming, that's a very Aquarius thing to do for a group of people to have a like-minded theme and group together and make something happen. So I love that. I think it's probably going to happen just because of the power that Pluto has in Aquarius and that it's going into a retrograde. I think probably by this time next year, we could see Pluto be classified as a planet again after it, hits, after this retrograde is done. So, more themes of Pluto. This is an intense energy, you guys. It brings up fears. It brings up power struggles. It brings up control issues, control grabs. This is bringing up transformative aspects where one day you look in the mirror, the next day everything just looks completely different. And Pluto is, as I mentioned, about the shadow areas. So we could see these things being brought to light. We could see these things, getting some attention. Our fears coming up, our desire to just grab at things and control them. So watch yourself, step away, peel away from all of this, if you can, so that, you can view it as an objective, viewer. That would be very helpful during this time, that Pluto is very, very still in the sky, just to not get like too sucked up into that. So pull yourself out, make sure you're viewing things from the outside also. And we'll be talking more about these retrogrades as they come up, but Pluto is the first planet to station retrograde in this next coming cycle. So we've had a couple of months here where all the planets have been direct, and Pluto is very, very subtle. Okay. It's subtle. It's slow moving. It is a total background under roar that is going on when some of these other planets that are closer to us go retrograde. We feel them a little more. These outer planets, it's like this slow aching roar, underneath it all. So Pluto, first one here on May 6th, 2026 to go retrograde. And then we don't really see much go retrograde again until the very end of June, when Mercury sets up for next retrograde in Cancer. And then that kind of kicks off the development of the retrogrades, because in July, I believe we see 3 or 4 planets, including Chiron, turn retrograde. So between now and the end of June is going to be a highly transformative time. All the planets still moving very direct. Is still a moment to really take charge. As above, so below. When the planets are all charging forward, that's a time when we charge forward in life, when they all slow down and stop and go backwards. And that's when we go back and we slow ourselves down and we go back and fix things that we might have bowled over in the beginning. So Thursday, May 7th, a very quiet day. If you're looking for restful days, there's a couple of them. There is is the 7th and the 11th, just a small amount of lunar activity. So you'll see a lot of spillover from the previous day. So on the 7th, you're going to see a lot of this Pluto, stuff come up. And then on the 8th, the moon moves into Aquarius. And this is when we're going to see the moon conjunct Pluto. So really these first few days, until Friday, Saturday. Saturday is going to be another day where we don't have planetary aspects. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we don't have any planetary aspects. So we'll see that spill over. The Aquarius moon for those couple of days, all about freedom and independence and being an individual, so embracing ourselves over the weekend for things about us that make us totally unique and the things that make us feel free. That is going to be very important to us with that Aquarius moon. And then on the 10th, the moon moves into Pisces and we get a shift of the mood from that air sign that's all about groups and socializing and being out and being free and showing yourself as an individual. And when we move into Pisces with the moon, it's much more private. It's much more intimate and is more about surrendering to source energy, to the endings that are taking place, and is a highly, highly spiritual sign. It's very, very empathetic, and compassionate. So the most compassionate, empathetic of all signs is Pisces. They hold all of the energy from the rest of the zodiac. So that is also a time when we surrender into that and allow the endings that need to take place before the next cycle when the moon moves into Aries. That is a more fresh energy. So there's going to be some endings over the 10th and the 11th. But no matter what happens with those endings in this Pisces moon, we have the sun in a sextile to Jupiter on the 10th. And this is like good luck, best luck, good fortune, and it's very easy and harmonious. There is a wisdom aspect to Jupiter, and a sextile brings in just a lot of assistance. It's like help is on the way, and help with a smile. It's like, hey, I'm here for you. Let's just do this. And I'm going to make this easy for you. It's like we get a taste of the good life when the sun is in a sextile to Jupiter. Jupiter is the most benevolent of all the planets, and it's the most wise and has the most good luck wrapped up in it. So, Pisces moons can be a little difficult over the 10th and the 11th. We see some endings taking place, some accumulation of all the things that have happened over the last lunar cycle from Aries to Pisces. And now we're needing to surrender and release that. And this sun sextile Jupiter is going to make that feel better. It's going to feel easier. It's going to feel better. It's going to feel like it leads to a nice, harmonious place. So, yeah, this week has a lot of attention on Pluto. And after the Scorpio full moon last week, we're going to be feeling a little bit of a hangover. Like, okay, that full moon was like last week. Why is it kind of still hanging on? And a lot of that is because Pluto is stationing to go retrograde. And when a planet is sitting still like this, it just brings so much potency to that energy. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So these energies are kind of building, they're compiling. And Pluto is in a square to Scorpio. So we're just working through some tougher energies. We're working through some shadow areas. We're working through some deaths, and we're kind of in the gooey state. Might not be totally ready to take some real steps forward until the Aries moon next week. And there's going to be a lot of endings as we as the moon conjuncts Pluto again on the 8th, and then this Pisces moon. So the Pisces moon ending the week. So, be very easy on yourself, as we could sort of feel like we get the layers peeled away this week. It's like the snake shedding its skin this week, and that tender new skin that's underneath. I have a blister right here on my finger that I just got, and it's representing that, because sorry, not trying to be gross, but the top layer of the skin did come off today, and now it's got this really tender pink underlayer of skin, and just any little, even if it's not even anything that's rough that rubs against it, you feel it. So it's so open and raw. So after we shed this skin this week, we're going to have that pink, tender, raw skin underneath to take care of, and make sure that, we stay nice and hydrated, and we don't get too dried out by a lot of the fire that is still prevalent in the chart. Aries still has a massive stellium, so there's this heat coming from this one part of the chart, and things are starting to balance out a little more away from that fire. But it's been hot and fiery for a while, so stay hydrated, back away from that fire, move into the other areas of the chart, and it's going to be a good week. I think by this time next week, we're going to feel like there's been a heaviness that's maybe been lifted. So take good care. I will be back next week here in the Cosmic Community Astrology, and I am your galactic ambassador, Stacy Dredd. Take very good care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.